Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. Welcome back to Valorant news, and in the aftermath of one of the craziest days in Valorant history, with Shroud joining Sentinels for the last chance qualifier, there's been so much reaction to this one. TenZ explaining why this is the case, why they believe Shroud is the right fit, Shroud saying what role he's going to play, the fact that it is a short-term move that could potentially become something longer. Definitely intrigued to your thoughts and all this stuff in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy, subscribe if you're new as always, I'd greatly appreciate it. On the verge of 21k, getting a lot of new subs yesterday. There's no surprises there. Firstly, this from, well, XSET. This is not true, this is bait. But the thing is, I saw this and they deleted the tweet because, some people were falling for it, right? And I feel like from a legal perspective, it's a little bit suspect. But that's the thing. They announced Stewie2k here, XSET, despite the fact that this was not actually the case. But we did hear the rumors that Stewie wants to come to Valorant. So there was thoughts immediately in the aftermath of the Sentinels Shroud thing, is this actually legitimate? Because this, honestly, if you'd have told me that he was going to be joining XSET as a substitute or something, or Shroud was coming to Sentinels, I'd have said the Stewie thing was more likely. So they eventually have to backtrack on this and delete the tweet or whatever, but yeah, this is not true, rest assured. If you guys saw this, Stewie does kind of bait about it as well, but come on, XSET reporting for duty, right? So, I kind of doubt a team like XSET would be picking up a guy like Stewie, but, we even talked about Stewie to Sentinels, was that an option, right? So, I don't know, honestly, the Shroud Sentinels thing just kicked off everything yesterday, and well, we even see right here, everyone, of course, is flying out to Masters Copenhagen. Kind of brief update on this event to start out the video, then, of course, GenG and PaperX are there in business now. But FPX have been given a boost, as George Getter says, as Russian player Xiao is set to attend Masters. Saigetsu still remains unlikely at this stage. So for whatever reason, Xiao has been able to get the appropriate visa to attend, and that's not the case for Saigetsu. So still, FPX should have, and yes, Saigetsu, very kind of a talented and important player on this roster, but they should have 4 out of the 5 players that they, of course, intended to be there with, much better, of course, than last time out during Masters 1, where they weren't even able to attend, and therefore, Liquid had to take their place, and it was obviously a bit of a disaster. But FPX find themselves in Group B. I still think they're a talented team. I mean, they've done an awful lot of great things really with Angel as their IGL. Angel, we believe, will be there, and Xiao will be there as well. So certainly giving a possibility that this team can still do some damage in this tournament. It's going to be obviously not their full roster. It's far from easy, but teams with substitutes in the past have made something happen, and they've got a few substitutes lined up that they can trial with or run with, whatever they want to do, when, of course, Masters Copenhagen begins just tomorrow, would you believe. The first matches do indeed start. Now, of course, look, everyone was betting about the Shroud Sentinel stuff. Lee says you guys won't believe what's coming up next in roster moves, and then confirmed by Vanity, welcome King James LeBron to Cloud9. Excited to get to work, he says, to 30-odd thousand likes here on Twitter. So that's the thing. This move from Sentinels was just so unexpected that it kind of kicked off stuff like this happening all over Twitter, right? I think most people's initial reaction here to this move was okay, they're just doing it for the clout, right? They're just doing it for potentially qualifying for, making sure Riot choose them for franchising, stuff like this, right? Which obviously, you'd imagine that was part of their motivation here. But also they do seem to believe that they can be competitive. It's also Shroud believes himself that he can be competitive. Look, he's a legendary CSGO player. Obviously he's played Valorant recently, but has never played it on this type of a level, right? And, TenZ seems to believe that he can pick it up rather quickly, but he's not got that long to do it. And obviously from a mechanical perspective, from a pure aiming perspective, Shroud certainly can be that guy, but he wants to get back into competition, and he was offered the chance to do this, and he decided to absolutely take that opportunity, right? So it's a crazy move. They of course confirmed it yesterday that he loves TenZ and he's back in the team. He's in the team for the first time, of course, in this organization, but also in Valorant in general. And as Sentinels confirmed, he is boot camping, he's coming to the LCQ, he's playing smokes, and he's filming content, right? Which of course is kind of the Sentinels way, but it is an incredible move for them to pull off right here. Speaking to Shroud and saying, okay, do you want to make it happen? There probably were better options out there if they wanted a kind of proven smokes player to make this team work. But from a pure kind of marketing perspective, this is, absolute magic from the Sentinels team, to be perfectly honest. They're going to do the bootcamp. I'm sure that's going to be incredible to see any content that comes out of that. The last chance qualifier, of course, as well. If they somehow win it, he'll probably go to Champions. He kind of didn't say that for sure, because it's only for now a short-term arrangement for specifically the LCQ. No guarantees for next season or whatever, because they can't really guarantee anything, with franchising being far from confirmed going into next year. But how good here can Shroud actually be? Of course, he's going to be on the controller role. He's going to be on the smokes. That's kind of what the team needed. Look, as I say, mechanically, very gifted player in the Counter-Strike days, hasn't been around a competitive scene for an awful long time. He wants to get back into it. We know how talented he is from a pure aiming perspective, but is that going to be enough here to get his head around how to play Valorant on a high level, mesh with the rest of the team? It's an interesting question, but of course the bootcamp is going to be the best way to possibly do it. Look, it's far from the change that gives them the best chance of winning, but it's certainly probably the best change they could make from a few different reasons, and the fact that everyone's talking about it, and everyone will continue to talk about it, and even as Valorant says, you're telling me I'm going to play against Shroud and Tarek around one of the LCQ, because there was even rumors that, okay, well, if Shroud's coming in, is Tarek coming back, right? You wouldn't be surprised if Tarek joined 100 Thieves or something, right? And in the aftermath of this, if Sentinels are getting Shroud, why not Tarek to 100 Thieves? Why is that not an option as well, right? So just creates so many interesting questions. But of course, everyone's been wondering, okay, why did they make this move in the first place? But also, what do the players have to think about it, right? And as Marvel Snake here actually says from the Counter-Strike side, like he's, well, pretty critical of this move in general. Certainly been a lot of kind of criticism of it, really, from a kind of actual, well, wanting to win and be competitive perspective. But Shroud and the team seem to believe that's certainly still possible for this roster. But what Marvel Snake says right here, it's like when Jordan came back from retirement to join the Wizards, except it's just Jordan's commercial appeal and none of the rings, right? Saying that really doesn't bring any skill to this team or any real talent, but it's just at the commercial appeal, which is the key factor. And this is also mentioned here by Ryan Central, which is why kind of he hates this move, but it does make sense from a franchising perspective that, look, Sentinels for next year, there's no guarantees right now that any team gets a spot in the partnership ecosystem for next season. Sentinels, you'd have thought they would have got it, but just the way the last few months have gone for Sentinels, the fact that their team fell off, like, you know, I'm sure they couldn't guarantee internally they would get it, right? Making a move like this shows to right, like, look, we're serious, we can bring the eyeballs, we can, I'm pretty sure this tweet as well from Sentinels is the most liked tweet by any esports organization, at least in the last 18 months or so. Like, maybe early this year there was another one, right? But this tweet, like, with Shroud joining, has over 200,000 likes now and 5 million views on Twitter. Like, no other esports org has hit like numbers like that on a tweet for a very long period of time. Pretty sure last year the most likes a tweet got from an esports org was like 150k. Like, I mean, obviously they've blown it out of the water right here with this announcement as well. So just goes to show, if they're thinking about franchising ahead, this is going to increase their chances of getting that more than if they win the LCQ or Champs, right? Actually winning events is less of a big deal as the eyeballs you can bring in stuff like this from Riot's perspective, I imagine. So that's kind of one of the reasons why they might have done exactly this. But there's some explanations coming out. They sat down with Shroud, did an interview with him, kind of discussing some of his kind of reasoning here. I'll share some brief clips from not just this interview, but also from last night on stream, where many people were talking about it. But Shroud effectively says, look, he believes he can compete on a high level. He's, well, prepared to do it. He's going to grind at the boot camp, learn the team's tendencies, get to know everyone, and thinks within a few weeks, within about a month or so, he can get to the point where he can compete on a high level. And TenZ also goes on to explain exactly why they made this move, why Shroud is the right guy for them, kind of, well, out of the other options they had, why, like, yeah, he seems kind of the perfect player. I'll even close out the video today with a nice little clutch that Shroud had that TenZ seemed rather satisfied with.
I'm itching to try competing again and VALORANT something new, and I want to see how I can fare against something that's new rather than going back to what I already know. I would say the main thing that speaks to me about Sentinels is the way they play. I feel like they remind me of my team in Counter-Strike, just like the style and I guess the IGLing that's done within that team and the way they play together. Just reminds me of kind of how we played, and I'd imagine, I don't know them personally yet, I'm going to get to know them. I'd imagine that even their personalities might resemble my experience in the past, so that's the big one, you know, how they play. I guess the main one, which is going to be a main question, is, am I going to try? Of course I'm going to try. Like, I'm not committing to this LCQ like half-ass. Will I go to boot camp? Absolutely. That is a very, very good way to catch me up in the whole process, because I gotta fit right in at the fifth. I gotta understand their strats. I gotta understand how they play, how they communicate, and the best way of doing that is in person, and it's the best way to speed up the whole process. So yeah, I'll be there. We've talked briefly about the role. The main role that I'm going to be is controller on most maps. There is a world in where I might squeeze into another role if somebody else is comfortable on, let's say, Viper. But mainly controller, yeah. My expectations from this are hopefully win. You know, I want to win the LCQ. And the main one for me, I guess, on a personal level, is to play well.
So it's not a permanent move. No. It is a 1 month situation for the LCQ.
Like a lot of like CS players, they'll have a pretty easy time like going into Valorant. Like if they already know Valorant and know the abilities and stuff, then there's a lot less for them to learn, and like give them like a few weeks and they can easily play like really well. And thank you Billowall for the $5. But yeah, it was an opportunity that was given to us. We needed a smokes player, and yeah, like nothing else really to say. Like he's insane. He's already really good at the game without like actually playing it all the time and like competing at like a pro level. He's already like really good at the game, and like nobody can like take that away. Like,
so whatever you think about this move, it's impressive that Sentinels have managed to pull this off. I think it's cool for Shroud on a personal level, right? That after having many years kind of out of competition and doing content and stuff like this, he's still got the drive to come back and compete and try and become the best in the world yet again. He's confident that he can do it. Like, I'm not convinced personally until I see it in action. And the thing is, as he well described in, maybe I didn't share the specifically, but he did say in that kind of sit down interview that, you know, potentially he has 2 bad series, right? It's obviously at the LCQ going to be a double elimination type thing. If you lose 2 series, you're out of there. So we could, of course, see Shroud come in, not really do that much, play a couple of matches, and then it's done for. But I think, honestly, the confidence this will bring to Sentinels will be key, right? They seem pretty confident that Shroud could be a good option. Like, they're excited, of course, about the team that they're building here. Whether they fully believe that they're going to be able to win the LCQ with this lineup, with, you know, 3 weeks or so of practice, with Shroud, a player that hasn't really played Valorant at all on a competitive level, is, of course, an interesting question. But he does have an awful lot of FPS experience. He knows how to win. He knows how to be a part of a team culture like this. It may be more beneficial than we were expecting to the other players as well, not just with Shroud on an individual level. So I think there's 2 sides to this story here, right? Like, there's one side which certainly says it's an awful move, why are they doing this? But there's the other side that says, you know, maybe there are some positives that people aren't really talking about. And of course, the viewership is certainly one of them that people are talking about, right? And it's kind of infamous says right here, Sentinels at the LCQ, no one really cares. And then, well, Sentinels with Shroud, it's an absolute mega crowd. So definitely intrigued to your thoughts on that one in the comment section below. And I'll finish up with this clip as well from Shroud last night on stream, where gets a rather nice little clip, and then TenZ, well, seems relatively satisfied with the IQ on display. But very much intrigued to your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, hit on the like button. Tell us your YouTube gods, it's a good video. I just like you should see it as well. And I've grown the competitive Valorant community. Thank you for watching as always. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time.
this Viper, he doesn't like play on this side. It's like interesting. He plays committed on this angle over here.
This guy's crazy. He's fighting yellow.
One has off.
One enemy remaining.
He walks through. He walks through. He walks through. Man. He doesn't walk through.
I have the spike. Toxins going up. Toxin screen down. 30 seconds.
Good job.
Okay.